Shall I start the session, ma'am and sir?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the virtual workshop on the startup playbook, bringing your startup idea to the life. So it's a 1 hour session. So today we have with us Hema Shantaraman and Shiv Shenoy as a speaker for our event. So let me introduce the first speaker for this event, Hema Shantaraman, who has overall 21 years of experience in software development, software testing, business analyst, quality assurance, and project management, test strategy, planning design, execution, optimization, including UI testing, web service testing, web designing, estimation, pre-sales, SAP performance testing, accessibility testing, product quality standards, and strap trunky accelerator. She also handled projects across different regions of the globe in the United Kingdom, Germany, United States, and India. She also provides leadership to the multiple testing service delivery teams for the end-to-end project planning and delivery. Tasks include account management, daily operations, people management, offshore on-site coordination, pre-sale and post-sale support, excellent collaboration skills, analytic skills, leadership skills, and project management skill. Welcome to the session, ma'am. So the second speaker for the session today we have is Shiv Shenoy, who works as a project managers, solopreneurs, and thought leaders. He guides a project manager for the PMP exam. He also runs 2 blogs and has written over 263 plus blog posts. He has published 21 books. 3 of books have hit Amazon bestsellers. So welcome to the session, sir. So for the audience, the platform is open for the questions. So you can drop your question anytime during the session in the chat box. So speaker will answer them towards the end of the session. So further any ado, I'll just hand over the session to the speakers. So over to you, ma'am and sir.
Thank you, Anuradha, and thank you, NASSCOM, for providing us this forum to talk and also share our ideas and also views. So to just give you a little brief about to just give you a little brief about me, Anu also already has introduced me. I'm also a member of Goldman Sachs program and also an early investor and a co-founder with Prakat Solutions. In fact, I started my entrepreneurial journey at the age of 17, I should say, when I started my own business then for a short stint, and then complete my education, and then worked with both product and service-based companies. And I'm also a mentor with Chiro's platform, where we work with rural women and also try to digitally empower them. And certified yoga teacher and also practice holistic healing Reiki. In fact, apart from the current corporate world, I'm also more fascinated towards the NGO world, and I am connected to many of the NGOs. And then I was a national level COVID volunteer, helping many people. So that led me to get a couple of awards at the national level. Over to you, Shiv.
Thank you, Hema. Thank you, NASSCOM team, for giving us this opportunity, and thanks everyone for joining the session today. My name is Shiv Shenoy. I've worked for about 15 years in the corporate in software management field, especially working with startups. So for most of my career, I have built software solutions for startups, and that has given me a way to a ringside view, if you can say, about how startups work. In 2013, I started on my own, created simplified education systems. And through this, I work with the project managers and mid-level managers to help them prepare for a certification exam, and also create, build their authority in their niche by self-publishing their book or blogging, etc. And we do this through blogs, books, our own online school, and personal coaching. So recently, I've co-founded an edtech company where we are building an online platform for certification, takers to have a realistic exam experience and know or find the gaps in their study and then fill them quickly. So that way it reduces their overall time and increases the confidence quickly. So we are in the beta stage now. So in today's session, we are going to dip into our own experience of running the startup and working with the startups, and present the journey from an idea of a startup all the way through launch and beyond, taking you through each of the 5 steps. So there is a lot to cover. 1 hour is probably a less time, but we'll try and do our best job. So without much ado, let me hand over to Hema to get started.
Thanks, Shiv. So moving on to the next slide, where when you have an idea, what do you do and how do you take it further? So you come up with an idea, and then you try to do the market research on the idea that you have. Just give me a second.
You can try to manually move the slide using the arrow on the screen itself.
So I'm not able to navigate. Yeah. When you have an idea, what you do is that you have your idea and then do a lot of market research around that idea. And then you do the strategic planning and develop the product and also take the product onto the co-life environment. So the idea is that what you have, and then the idea should have a team around it. You look for a co-founder who is going to have a complementary skills of the skills around you. That's very important. And also you need to support each other, and also maybe you need to brainstorm around the idea and then find the product that is very close to your heart. It's more like the baby that you will be nurturing for the rest of your life, right? And also taking it as a journey along with you, and have the execution plan, and then say as how you can make it a better product on the market. And one of the most important, the crucial aspects here is that identify who are the current competitors to the product who are there in the market, and what is it that you're going to do to ensure that you do the fundraising. Products can exist based on their own money. People can bootstrap the product, or they can actually raise the money from friends and family members, or they can go for an angel investor. So when you have to go for an angel investor, there are certain steps that you need to follow. There is maybe a pitch deck that you need to have, and also the way you need to present it to the angel investors. These are very important aspects which we would be covering in the rest of our slides. An idea can come from anywhere. In fact, if you look at this slide, it was GoPro, an Australian surfer who wanted to capture all her surfing moments. At that point in 2012, there were no cameras which were available to capture the surfing moments. He developed a product and then came up with a vision for the product and developed this product of a wrist camera watch. Took around 2 years to develop this product, got the funding and all, and ensured that this was one of the type of products which are available in the market. Of course, you find a lot of competitor products which are available in the market, but the idea at the time in 2012, what made him to have this idea formulated into a product and then have the revenue around it. And then we have our own platform, Shiros. Most of us would have used Facebook, and we know the problems of using a Facebook, right? There are pros and cons of using a Facebook. This is the only women-based platform in India which is available today, founded by Sari. And I'm in fact one of the mentors here. And we find that this platform is very, very friendly to the women. Women are very passionate, and also they have make their own products. Many of the women, they come onto this platform and they sell their products. I can see that. Over a period of 2 years, we have built our user base to more than 6 lakh users. And the vision of Shiros is to ensure that they have more than 10 million users over a period of time. The main intention around this Shiro slide is to say that have your vision and the goals clearly formulated. Shiros is in collaboration with Google, and also they are in tie-up with Tata. This program is entirely sponsored by them. So in that way, this is a great platform, which is like a collaborative platform which they have built upon. And Urban Ladder founders, of course, when they moved to Bangalore, they found that there were they wanted to buy the furnitures. There were not many online furniture shops which were available at that point of time. The problem of theirs became a company, I can say. And they were one of the few early companies in the market at that time who realized that what is the gaps which are available in on-time sellings, and then they formulated the urban ladder. We can say that the designs of the urban ladder were like very trendy at that time, and market leader was Godrej, who had around 600 crores. So if you look at the growth of the urban ladder, right, they have a small stake of around 65 crores here. They had one of the excellent business model where they were sourcing the products from their own vendors, and also the logistics and the supply chain management team were completely built around that. And also they ensured that the delivery teams were led by women. This is very important because we women in the house are the one who decide where the furniture would be there, would be placed, right? So they ensure that whatever the business model they followed was in right way to ensure the success of the company. And this is a classic example of a cooperative movement society. We can say by legit paper. Most of us would have eaten the tastiest legit paper, and they are known for the quality product and also the consistency of the product. Legit paper was started by 7 women, and this was in South Mumbai, a very small place. And the vision of the legit paper was very clear from day one. They didn't want it to be as an NGO. They wanted women who joined this movement to be the owners of the legit paper. They called them as legit sisters. They ensured that each of the legit sisters were provided the proper transportation facility and whatever the dough or the atta which was needed, right? They had counters where they could come and pick them up, and then once the product is ready, they had the delivery counters to deliver their pampers. And in that way, legit paper, the processes were very clearly laid out by them. And they started as in one small place in Bombay. And now today, if you look at their journey, they have expanded to more than 25 countries. They sell their products. And it's not just the pampers. Of course, they have diversified into a varied other of products also. And their growth started from just 80 rupees. And today it is 1,600 crore empire, which is built by them. And the vision was very, very clear. It's not that me who's going to grow. It's me along with me. The others also going to be growing. And we find that they have chosen women from the low class society who are going to be able to generate up to 30,000 to 40,000 per month. And in fact, many of these ladies' kids are studying in AIMS and IITs today. So really feel it's like proud of India that we have companies like this which are formulated. And moving on to the next company, of course, Amazon. Most of us would have shopped in Amazon. The concept of Amazon itself was not there before, I should say. And he wanted to basically have an online portal to sell the books. It started initially with books because it was a non-perishable items. And then, of course, if you look at the Amazon's growth now, you get anything and everything, be it the pin or the whatever you need in the house, right? You get everything in Amazon today. Similarly, there are many other competitor companies who are in the market today, be it the Flipkart or the big baskets of India, right? So you have an idea and then formulate it into and ensure that you take it to the next level. That's very important here. And we all would have eaten Amul bread or the butter, right? The way Amul started its journey was they are started as a white revolution, started as an aggregator for selling the milk at that point of time when there was a white revolution which was created. And over a period of time, they have diversified their products into the different range of products, and they have their products across India and also to many other countries they sell. And the way the model that they have used is what I can say, they have the franchisee distribution model. You have a model on which you just ensure that you make more money over a period of time, and quality and consistency is the key to the success of any of the company's growth. They are some of the messages that we would like to share from the Amul's case study. An idea can come from anywhere. We all have seen how our lives have changed for the past 2 years. Corona has changed and it has created, in fact, many opportunities. There are many startup companies who have come up in food industry, insurance, healthcare, medical devices, or the medical health accessories. I think I wouldn't have heard of oximeter 2 years before, right? In the similar way, we have seen as how we never even knew of PPE kits. In fact, PPE kits were not manufactured in India. I have seen at the national level COVID team, how more than 10,000 PPE manufacturers were there in India. And we were trying to help people across all the places. We are just trying to aggregate all those information in one place. And today, India has become one of the market leaders in supplying most of these materials to the rest of the world. So this is how an idea can come into a product and also energize your ideas. And these two college kids are really cute because they wanted the home food and they realized that they were like craving for home food. They created a platform of Chef Junction where they enabled the home cooked food people to come and sell their product. And this platform not only generated a revenue for them and also created a job for many, many other people. That's very important. In the entrepreneurship journey, what we have to focus on is that it's not just me, it's also how we empower others. That's very important in life. And quick hire, the sisters, what they did is they realized that during COVID, many have lost a job, and there were like not many platforms which were available to ensure that people could get. Of course, Naukris are there, and many other platforms were there. But they took it as an opportunity and they invested their own $50,000 from their savings, and then later got an investment of around $3.5 lakh from an angel investor. And this platform of QuickWire has helped many people to find jobs today. So what is the idea that you have and how do you want to take it further? Once you want to have an idea, you ensure that you do a lot of market research on those ideas. That's very important. So you have the idea, is it viable or not? What is the market which is there? Would this idea fly or not? These are some of the key aspects that you need to consider. And it could be a problem or it could be a promise that you're trying to solve, right? Like what is it that you want to solve and how you want to fulfill it? That's very important. And what do you mean by it? That a product has got a right way to a fit. Say, when I say, I take an example of a middle-aged people. Middle-aged people are generally at times, they tend to put on weight over a period of time, and then they want to become from fat to fit. But as a college-going kid, they generally would be lean and they would like to have a different strategies or ways of impressing the different people. So in this way, if you can see, Healthify is one of the startup which is around the space, who has built an app and they are making huge money, and the type of marketing strategies that they are using, right? In fact, yesterday I was looking at the Facebook, and the type of promotions that they are doing is that just pay maybe 2022 rupees for 2022, and how they're trying to enhance their customer base here. That's very important. The key message here is that have the product and also look at what is the market trends which are there, and then have the different ways and means in which you can attract more customer base onto your product. That's very important. And then have the clarity as what is the product that you want to do. Is there a demand for the product, and how the product can be produced economically or not? And what is the reach to which you can reach out to the customers? What is the competition that you would have for this particular product? And what are the necessary financial aids that you would be needing for having this product developed? Once I do the product market research analysis, there are different ways in which you can do the product market research analysis. Let us understand those as different aspects. So there are different methods, purposes, and the external research and the research, preliminary research methods that you can use. You can use either the online survey or the portal survey, telephonic survey, the testing the market needs, or the documentation market analysis. These are some of the ways in which you can identify and also analyze the market needs which are available to see what are the different benefits that you would be getting to ensure that your product becomes a success in the market. And represent these problems in terms of numbers. They are very important. Okay, today this product is going to be having X number of dollars, and what is going to be the revenue that I would be generating over a period of time. Those points you should have very clearly identified from the beginning itself, and give enough time and also the data around it, which is very important. So why do you need the data? These data, you would be needing it because you need money, right? At the end of the day, a company cannot run. You need a fuel to run your company. So you will have to go and talk to the investors and then have your pitch ready. And then who are going to be the target audience who would be using your product? Identify them, whether it's going to be the primary users or the secondary users, and what is the idea which is floating in the market. Do a lot of market research around this, and then to see who are the customer profiles who will be using it. What is the demographics and also the psychographic analysis. All these things you need to there are different market tools and also which are available in the market, which we will be seeing eventually over a period of time. And where do I get the data? The data, it could come from either the primary source, or there could be any existing secondary source of data which is there. Say example, I would like to design an electric scooter. Electric scooters which are available in the market today, they don't have much range. They have a range of only 200 to 5,000 kilometers maximum. So maybe my electric scooter which I would be designing would have the best battery performance. Maybe I'll try to have a scooter which is a competitor to Ather, and ensure that this battery charging would be like reduces the from 5 hours to 1 hour. So they are the type of data points that you need to consider when you are designing a product. And of course, you have to do the primary research. And when you are doing a primary research, you can focus on the focus groups, or there are a number of online survey tools which are available. And then you can go on in depth, do the interviews for the customers, because the customer is the king at the end of the day. They would be the one who's going to be using your product, or they can say, okay, I don't need this particular product, right? So it's important that you interview the customers or the end users to know if there is a value add for your product. And there are a number of ways that you can also do the secondary research. You can use the online forms or the community tools, look out for Quora forms, and then start posting the questions about that. And then there are a number of other tools which are available, like Google Trend tools, social mention tools, and also Ask It test tools. So this gives you a trend or the idea of how a product interest was there, and over a period of time it was to the peak, and then over a period of time this has gradually dried down. So it was very clear from this market research that there was no need for such a product to be launched into the market. Okay, and there are a number of tools like Ask the Public for these tools will help you to identify who is the person who's going to be using it, what is it, and when it's it. So when you key in your problem statement, this would automatically generate the answers for you. Similar to this, there are many other public tools like social mention, and Ask a Test is like one of the tool which is available, where you can go and research the survey, and also see who's going to be the built-in audience who will be using the product. And once you do the market research flow, it is clear to you what you are going to be doing, and what are the assumptions that you need to validate on, and what is the market size for the product that you have. So let us look at the sample market research flow. You have the overall market, and how do you position this particular product in the market? What are the different complementary products which are available? And what is the overall market size, and what's going on in the market? That's very important. Know your target audience, who are the real problems with real problems, and what is going to be the spending money pattern. That's very important, because you may design a product which would be too high or expensive, where it may not be useful for the people. So these numbers are just not the numbers. It would be more information to you to see if it is going to be successful to launch the product or not. And one of the key aspect is know your competitors. Say if I'm, as I was mentioning in the earlier example, I'm trying to design an electrical car or electrical scooter. Who are the different competitors who are available in the market? Know the direct or the indirect competitors, and know your target audience as well. And what are the positive and the negative features in this particular product that you were trying to launch? Try do a competitive analysis. And let us look some of the market research examples which were there. Like, in fact, audio, they did a lot of market research in 2005, and they wanted to launch a platform for podcasts. But they realized that over a period of time, audio is like this idea got converted into what is available today is Twitter. We can see that when you want to refer to any of the global news, we refer back to Twitter, right? So this idea of being a podcast platform, it became what is the current Twitter today. And there are other market research examples which are available. In fact, the YouTube founders, they wanted to create a first online dating platform. And that idea didn't click well for them. So they did a lot of market research, and then later they developed what is called as the YouTube. This is one of the most, when we want to refer back to any of our videos, right, we refer to YouTube. That is the, like, it's more like the king which is dominating in the entire market today. And Falguni, we know most of us would have heard of Falguni's story. In fact, this is a very interesting story which I would like to share. She walked into a store and she brought a lot of cosmetics for herself. And in fact, the salesperson was good enough to explain all the range of cosmetics. And then she realized, okay, there are not many online platforms which are available for cosmetics then. She quit her high paying job at the age of 50, and then she started this venture of Nika. And today they are like, she's like one of the market leaders. We can see as the growth of Nika. This is in 2021. It also has gone for IPO. They have been valuated at 95,000, more than that money, 95,000 crores. And also they have counters across 80 physical shops are there in the country. And the current valuation is more than $13 billion. So you have the idea, you've done enough of market research, and then we have to do the strategic planning in order to ensure that you take your product to the market, right? So what are the different ways in which you can do the strategic planning? When you do the product distribution, what are the distribution channels that you would be using for it? And what are the marketing and the sales options that you would be using to ensure that your product becomes more successful? What is it, the support and the return and the reforms option that you have? And the numbers that you would be talking about. Okay, I have a product. When is it that I'm going to get the break-even point? And what is the customer lifetime that you would be having for this particular product? In fact, when you have all the things, you just put it into a paper, right? Or it is going to be in the PPT or a Word document. Similar to that, there was like Alex Oswald, who developed the business canvas model. Business canvas model is like, it has 9 different quadrants, which we would be seeing in the next slide. And this is like optimized to the lean canvas, which is done by Ash Moria. This 9 quadrants of if you see the slide, right, who is the customer segments who would be using your product? They are the early adopters. And what is the problem statement that you are trying to solve? What is the solution that you are building around that? And what are the revenue streams? What is the unique value proposition that your product is having? Key metrics, what are the unfair advantage points, and the channels that you are using to push the product onto the customer path, and what is the cost structure that you have for your product? In fact, when I mentor most of my startups, right, I ensure that the startups have these lean canvas in place. This is very important, because once you have your lean canvas in place, right, it makes your thought process very clear. You would be clear as what is your journey down the lane and how you're going to take your startup to the next level. So I personally suggest that each of you please work on this lean canvas. There is an available, in fact, this is available in their website, and also you can download a PDF version of it, download it, and feel to take a printout of it and start writing on that paper. Because once when you put your ideas on the paper, that's how you can take your journey to the next level. And this is an example of a lean canvas model of Telstra. We can see that has how Telstra took it as an opportunity. GM failed to manufacture the electrical cars at one point of time. In fact, then Elon Musk invested in this company, and then how they developed the electrical vehicles. And the electrical vehicles, see, the solution I wanted to develop was like electrical vehicles with a resource efficient performance. And they were very clear with what the solution they want to develop. And what is it, the value proposition that they have? The value proposition is that they want to have the first Telstra car, which was developed by them, and also the customer segments are who are going to love the sports car. So in that way, once they have their lean canvas model ready, right, we know the journey of Telstra today, and Telstra is like one of the market leaders in the world today. Which was the existing alternatives available? General Motors. Since General Motors failed, Telstra took it as an opportunity to become one of the market leaders. And of course, there are many other electrical cars. But when we think of electrical car, first what it comes to our mind, and also the sellers, like the driverless cars, or there are the different type of options that Telstra is now coming up with, right? Like in that way, you can have your idea clearly implemented onto a product. And once you have your product implemented and you have your lean canvas, you have to now take it to the market. Let us now understand what are the different go-market strategies that you would be using. Over to you, Shenoy, to explain the rest of the things. Thank you.
Thank you, Hema. So probably you need to stop the sharing so I can take it over from here. All right, thank you. So I hope you can see the screen now. Just give me a quick thumbs up if you can. Okay, all right, thank you. So one of the strategic planning, apart from putting your idea into a lean canvas and getting that clarity, is to come out with go-to-market strategy. Now, this is the strategy on the back of which you will be launching the product, and some aspects of this will go into the actual marketing efforts that will go once your product is in the market, right? So first thing to understand is really what is GTM, what is go-to-market strategy. It's pretty simple. It's a strategic plan to launch a new product or a service, and you can enter an existing market or a new market. So in either case, a GTM does have a big role to play, and the success of this can only come if the market research has been conducted efficiently. The market research gives all the data, which is gold, and then on the back of this data, you would build the GTM. The main focus here is that the product is to be thought from customer-centric perspective, and it has to be developed based on the feedback from them. As a startup founders, we are fascinated with our idea, and we think it's our baby, and sometimes we find it a little hard to let go of the emotion. But the fact is that the product is actually the market's baby. The customer-centric focus we have, then we can build the right product which is needed. Now, some time ago, CB Insights ran a survey to see why the startups are failing. And interestingly, the second highest reason that 35% of the startups failed, because they found that there was no market need, right? If probably they didn't do the market research properly. So if that was done, then probably you would have known that there is no scope for this product in the market, and you would have avoided a failure. So market research is very, very essential. And based off of that data, we create the GTM. So let's take a look at a sample GTM strategy. This will vary, of course, based on your product and based on the segment in which your product is. But here is a sample GTM strategy with 7 steps. The first thing is to identify the market and product fit. Then once that clarity we have, you go ahead and quantify the value proposition, right? And then you understand the market position. So positioning your product in the market is very essential, and we'll see in a bit why this matters. So once the positioning is nailed, then we look at the pricing strategy. Then we also look at how we are going to make the product available to the market, and basically choose the sales and distribution model there. And then we design a marketing plan. As I said, this sits on top of the GTM strategy itself. And finally, we need to know the key performance indicators, right, that we need to measure to see how we are doing in the market. So let's take a quick look at each of these stages, so you can sort of see how you can create one for your own product or the idea that you have in mind as of now. The first thing is market product fit. And if you have come across the phrase of product market fit, this looks like the other way around. And this makes sense. This is actually, this perspective was proposed by Brian Balfour, who was with HubSpot at that point of time. So what we are saying here is we look at the market first and see if there is a need for our product idea there, right? That way you put the problem first, and then you put your solution to address that problem. So this perspective alone helps you probably avoid making mistakes where the product, when you release, probably is not found to be required in the market. So once we identify the market product fit, then we go into quantifying the value proposition. Now, it may sound like a heavy word, value proposition, but it simply means that for a customer to buy your product, there has to be a reason. So what is that reason? That why we are going to put right upfront in our marketing messaging campaigns, and make sure that the value proposition is clear in people's mind. So let's look at a couple of examples to really understand what value proposition is and how it is from the customer's perspective. Now, HubSpot is a CRM, and they found out that all the existing CRMs were hard to use. So their value proposition is it's an easy to use CRM. So FedEx basically said that manage your home deliveries, right? LG said, say state of the art living experience. And Samsung says, get ready to unfold your world. So you can see the word your here a couple of times. So that tells you that this is from the customer's perspective. It basically answers the question, what is in it for me from the customer's perspective. So this value proposition, identifying this, nailing this down for your product early at this stage is very, very important. And this will be used in the marketing messaging as well. So once we have nailed that down, we need to see, okay, how do I place this product in the market? So what's going to be my positioning, right? So if you have to ask somebody, have you researched something on the internet, the easiest way or typical way we say is, have you Googled it? So basically the name has become a verb, right? So that tells you how strongly this product is placed in the market. So Kleenex, if people talk about, the moment you hear the word, you think of a facial tissue product and not the company itself. So that's basically the power of positioning. So we need to understand how to position our product in the market, and the better we understand the target audience and the market, the better we will be to create a proper positioning. Now, with the positioning comes the pricing strategy. Why? Because the profit margin and the market penetration, as well as your brand image, depends largely on a pricing strategy. There are a couple of strategies that we'll quickly look at, and some of these probably are relevant based on the category you are in, right? Price skimming is a strategy, famously used by iPhone, PlayStation, these kind of products, which are targeted for brand conscious people. So they don't mind paying a lot just to get their hands on the products. And as time goes by, the product pricing may come down. So you basically skim the market with this strategy. On the other hand, or the other end of this spectrum is penetration pricing. So recently, when Jio came out with their telecom offering, we saw how they captured the market, because they made it almost a no-brainer for people to switch over from competitors to their product. So this price skimming basically is useful when you have a large market and it's a high volume product and the production cost is pretty low. The same strategy is used by streaming services as well. The other one is economy pricing, where you basically target your product for price sensitive customers, right? FMCG kind of products which are used en masse will typically go with this strategy. DMart is a great example where economy pricing is very effectively used. And then competitive pricing is basically you look at your competitors, look at their price, and you tweak based on what your competitors are selling the product for. Colas and a lot of household products are a good example here. And then comes the value-based pricing. Here you don't look at the competitors, you position your product very uniquely so that you can command a price that you think is provides value. So a lot of liquor brands use this strategy. So once the pricing strategy is fixed, then you go and look at how you're going to how you're going to do the sales and distribution. Again, this can depend on the category that you are in. What kind of sales and distribution models you go with could decide whether it's a direct to consumer product where there is absolutely no learning curve, anybody can click and start using the product, or if it could be B2B like SaaS products, right? Some of, especially marketing software, if you're talking about, you can go with the affiliate marketing way there. Some of the FMCGs are also doing this. And resellers and distributors, of course, is the standard way, which we've seen for ages now. And then franchisee model, even banks are going with the franchisee model. And you can also go with a combination of this. So this clarity has to happen right after your market research stage. Then once we have this, we come out with a marketing plan. And like I said, even after launch, this marketing plan will be a living document, it will grow. So essentially the plan will contain some of these things. What's the marketing goal? that supports our business. And based on this, what are going to be our marketing strategies, right? The strategies can change to achieve the goal, but the goals do not often change. Then once you have clarity on the strategies, then we look at, okay, marketing channels. What channels do we go with? What medium do we go with? And what's going to be the message, right? So there is always going to be a challenge of medium and messaging fit. So you have to, based on the channel, let's say you are going with Facebook ads, then the platform has certain limitations as to a number of characters, the type of image, the text in the image, etc. And based on that, you have to tune your messaging to the medium. So that all will be part of the marketing plan that we create. So before launch, we also need to know, okay, what are all the KPIs, right, that we are going to measure our success on? There could be many, and these are very, very specific to your segment and your product. So if it's an online product, it could be subscription, how many initial subscriptions you get, how many renewals you get, what is your lead to customer rate, right? There is no need to go overboard with it. PwC basically ran a survey, and then they found out that most of them are using 4 to 6 KPIs to measure. So what gets measured gets improved, right? So that brings us to the product development. And this is probably very, very important, because a product can be a software product, a hardware product. It could be a physical product like GoPro that we saw, or it could be an experience. For example, Airbnb, if you see, Airbnb doesn't own any product. It just is a platform. It brings the travelers and property owners together, and it sells the experience as a product, or it could be a combination of these. And knowing the product life cycle that your product can typically take is very essential. So typically any product basically goes through these 5 stages: development, introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. And this can happen over several decades also. We still see some enterprise products in software which were developed in 70s and 80s, and they're still there. So development stage is when what we are talking about now, right? You have an idea, you evaluate that, you do the market research, then you do the development, and then you take into introduction stage where you have just launched the product. And this is where, as you can see, the sales curve starts taking off. And as you get into the growth phase, you basically allow the market to define the features, right? When you do a lot of survey, when you talk to your customers and understand their needs, that tells you what kind of features you can introduce to your product. And growth phase is typically the longest in the PLC, right? And then eventually it'll get into maturity stage as time passes. Probably the platform is brittle. You won't be adding too many customers or too many features at this stage. And then eventually the product will outlive its expected life. Now, one of the very important things, we typically get a little bit of blindsided thinking only about our product, but we also have to see what is happening in the market. What kind of trends are there, what kind of changes, technological changes which are coming. A great example is Kodak. When digital camera, in fact, was invented in one of their labs, they said, no, we are a chemical-based company. We do the typical film-based approach, and that's what we are going to stick with. And eventually they got basically, whitewashed by the digital wave. Same with BlackBerry phone. When they were introduced, they were one of the hot favorites with the corporate because they were very secure and you could type email on the go. But then when touch phones came, they didn't innovate enough to see the trend. They continued with their own, design. The feature that was important for their customers became an hindrance to use the phone, and eventually they lost the market share. So what is happening in the market is something that needs to be constantly looked at as well. Now, most of the startup products need to be developed, unless it's probably in a food segment, etc., where the process becomes more important, not the project management. But then for most of the physical products, the project management in the development phase is very, very important. Now, the product could be developed into through multiple stages, right? If you are using, let's say, new technology, latest bleeding edge technology, then proof of concept is something that you want to see and see whether this technology stack is a good fit to create this product. And that is very essential. From there, if you get the confidence that this can move forward, you will do the prototype. Prototype is basically with probably 1 or 2 use cases just to see the product taking shape. And you can use this to get investment as well. And once you have that, now you have to take it to the market. You don't go full blown. You go to a small subset of market with minimum viable product with only most needed features in them. Then based on the feedback that you get, you build the 1.0 product. And this is where my current startup is. We got a lot of fantastic feedback from our beta customers, and then we are incorporating them into the product right now. Then you do the 1.0 release with little bigger market, see the market traction, etc., get the pricing, inputs, etc., and then you do a full-fledged launch for full-scoped product development from there. So there are various project management approaches available for startups, and you choose it based on the needs of your product. The most essential, or most, I wouldn't say essential, but most significant one, which has been there for several decades, is predictive, also called waterfall. And this comes from the manufacturing mindset, where you get everything, all the requirements upfront, then freeze them, then get to the design stage, do the architecture design and low-level design, freeze them, then do the implementation, and then do the testing, and then take it to market and maintenance. The whole stage can spawn several years. And as you can see, one of the biggest disadvantage here is that from the requirement stage all the way till release, the requirements might have changed. The market might have changed. So the change implementation becomes very, very expensive. So for new product development, this is not a great way, except probably if the product itself is a hard product, or a construction kind of a thing, where you have to have everything chalked out and frozen before you get into design, so on and so forth. For other ones, especially the technology based products or software products, we have something called Agile, which has come into fore about 3 decades ago. Now that also comes from the thinking from the manufacturing world, the lean thinking, where the whole idea is to reduce waste, increase efficiency, while being transparent and very adaptive to the change and continuously improving. So as you can see, the lean thinking influences the agile. Agile is an umbrella term. Basically, there are several specific approaches that you can take, like frameworks that we'll talk about in a bit. So Kanban is another one. This probably is the easiest thing to start, right? It's deceptively simple, but it is hugely fluid, right? Based on where you are currently, if you want to go agile, you will start with this. And this is all it is. It just is a physical board with 3 columns where you identify all the work that is to be done, and you put them on post-its under to-do column, and you take one at a time and start working on them. And as it is done, you move it to the done stage. So this gives you a lot of visibility. This gives you, visibility into bottlenecks. This gives transparency, and any risks you can right away see. And like I said, it's fluid because you can adapt it to whatever your needs are. Here, a couple of more columns are added. These are the different steps that you have through your product development when you want to manage it. And this is the real, physical original Kanban board from Toyota when they were using it. So when we talk about, the adaptive ways of doing, the next one that you look at is iterative. Now, if your product is very complex, right, or the changes are frequent, and you really have not nailed, you don't know how what the customer wants, you are a first market mover, then the optimization of project management for learning becomes essential, not for delivery. So you will go with the iterative model, where you basically do all those, planning, analysis, requirements analysis, implementation, testing in a small time frame, and you show this and get feedback and figure out, is this what we really need, or do we need to make some change? So you iteratively build this. As an example, right? Somebody comes to an architecture firm with a grand idea of building, a conventional hall or a home. They'll come with initial thoughts. They themselves are not clear. So you create a model and then show them, get them feedback, get their feedback, and incrementally develop this. and iteratively develop this. So the other one is incremental, where you know that the product is pretty straightforward. The requirements are pretty well understood. We know exactly what the customer wants. It's not very complex, right? Then you optimize for delivery. You want to go to the market faster. Then you go with the incremental approach, where you basically use the same flow, but you keep on adding additional components to your product. A great example is the software product that being developed. You initially do the prototype, and based on that, you do the MVP and then 1.0 and improvise, right? So incrementally also, but what if you combine these, incremental and, iterative, you combine, you can develop complex products pretty quickly. So from the left side, which is the waterfall, you can go easily on the right side, which is agile. And one of the agile framework which is used predominantly today is called Scrum. So Scrum is a framework which allows you to develop complex projects or products creatively by focusing on high value and take to market pretty fast. So this was again done by Ken and Jeff, who were part of the initial 17 people who came out with the Agile Manifesto in 2000. So in a very simple way to explain, you basically figure out all the things that your product needs in terms of features and drop them into a list called product backlog. Then you talk to the business and see what is the priority, what are the features that your customers want to see first, and then take the top priority chunk into a time-boxed flow called sprint, which could be 2 weeks to 4 weeks based on how quickly you want to go to the market. And then you analyze them further into what we call as a sprint backlog. So the team basically does all the designing, analysis, designing, etc. And then they start working on this. On a daily basis, they do the daily scrum, which is where they talk about any dependencies, issues, etc. So they collaboratively work together without any external influences or impediments, and they deliver the product increment at the end of the sprint. So once you have the product increment, you can demo it to all the stakeholders because it will be in that stage which can be used. And you also do something called as sprint retrospective. That is, you look back on the process that you have used to create this product increment. So you get a feedback loop on the product as well as process. And then you continuously do this, keep improving your product, and iteratively and incrementally build it so that you can, every 2 to 4 weeks, you can take it to market. And most of software development projects are done the Scrum way. And of course, when we have so many different options, you can go with a hybrid option also, a combination of this. For example, let's say Bosch is designing a new car audio system, right? So the car audio design, all that can be done in an agile manner, whereas the actual development can be done in a predictive manner. For a software product, when you are doing prototype itself, you can do it iteratively because that is engineered for learning. And once you have that, you can incrementally build to take it to market as MVP, because then you will do it for speed of development. And once you have the full-blown development underway, you can adopt Scrum methodology or Scrum framework. So a hybrid also is a possibility. And if you're, if you want to learn project management, there are many certifications available, PMP, Prince 2, etc. But I would recommend PMP because this is globally used, right? Except for Europe, where Prince 2 is more prominent than PMP, which comes second. Everywhere else in the world, PMP is sought after by most of the organizations, including startups, because it comprehensively covers all the project management approaches that we talked about so far. And it also is from an application perspective. It is not a certification exam just based on theory. You need to be a project manager to even take up this exam. And it helps you build amazing effectiveness in your own project management skills. And the market demand also is there. We've typically seen that PMPs get about 20% or more more than the non-PMP project manager. So if you want to have more information, or if you want to consult, if you're interested in PMP, just make a note of this link and I'll be happy to help you out. So that brings us to the last part of this this conversation, which is launch and marketing. Now, most of the basic work or the building work is done, and this is the ramp through which you take your product into the market. Now, before you do anything, there are three aspects which have to be very, very clear, and these determine whether the launch is going to be a success or hopefully not a failure. The first thing is the target audience. Who's going to use our market product is very, very essential. And then value proposition, we saw this. This is from customer's perspective, what makes sense to them. And you use that into your messaging. So if you nail these three aspects, your launch is definitely going to be a success. So when we talk about, target audience, as we saw earlier, the quantitative data and qualitative data you want to get about them, ideal customer, what is their age, where are they from, what's the kind of income they have, what's the education, employment, etc. And then psychographic, what are the desires, fears, goals, interests that they have. Using these, you can create your messaging that makes sense to them, and you can reach out to them where they are, which is, where they hang out, where they are available. It could be industry websites, social platforms, or online or offline communities, right? So once you have that, these three things basically, then you have the value proposition that is quantifying the benefit or the reason why the customer wants to buy your product. That has to come up very, very strongly in your messaging. Like we saw the examples earlier, right? Get ready to unfold your world, Samsung says. So that is customer centric. Now, the messaging, when you do, you basically figure out, okay, how am I going to reach out to my target audience? Am I going to run all banner ads or advertise on industry publications, newspapers, press release, or nowadays, a lot of things happen on social media, and you involve influencers to sort of promote your product. Whether you're going to do blog posts, email marketing, or are you going to appear on podcasts and talk about your product, visual ads on social media. There are so many options available. And as a startup, if you are, short on money, there are innovative ways of, choosing the channels like influencers and social media and content marketing that you can make use of. So medium and messaging, like Facebook ads that we talked about, right? Once you know the medium, once you have the clarity on your target audience, value proposition, and the messaging, you marry these two. So if you are running your ads on Facebook, then the platform has some restrictions, like the number of characters you can use, the type of image you use. So you basically make sure that it matches that audience, and the tone of your messaging matches that audience. If it is TikTok, you do a little differently. If it is LinkedIn, you do a little differently. So understanding that will basically help you, reach the audience in the right way so that they convert. So the launch is pretty much, all this coming together. You have a launch plan whose only goal is to target the right audience with the best possible messaging when you do the launch, right? So you come out with a launch checklist. Here is an example. You will probably have more than this or less than this, but it helps your team do the launch properly. Whether do you have a launch plan in place? What are the success metrics we are going to measure? Identify the channel for launch, right? Beta testing, launch date. How do you do the outreach? What are the creatives? So having this checklist is very essential, because this simplifies your marketing efforts around the launch, and it brings in clarity to your team as well. So using this in the pre-launch stage, you engage with your audience. You tease them with the features that your product has. You talk about the benefits, and you may even have to educate in certain for certain type of products. If you are going to market with a one-of-a-kind product, then you will probably have to educate them. All that you do in the pre-launch stage. And when the cart is open during the launch stage, you basically ensure that your messaging is throughout the platforms. It's very consistent. It is not confusing. And you make it very easy to buy. Buying doesn't have to take them through various loops. Even one-click buy probably will increase your conversions. And then be open to see any teething issues, be it payment gateway or usage, any of that. and quickly, fix them, because that sets the, it starts to set the experience with your product, and that will help you at the later stage also. So as soon as the launch happens, you collect all the metrics, analyze them, and start getting testimonials of people who are actually using, and use that in your further marketing. So like I said, as a startup, if you have a tighter budget, you don't need to, always go for ads. You can have your beta customers turned as influencers. They can talk on the social media, right? Or you can reach out to content marketing, word of mouth, email marketing. So these are some of the ways in which you can reach out to your target audience. Now, as a marketing strategy, people do use funnels. There are various ones available, and IDA is probably the easiest one. Essentially, this means that you engineer your campaigns in such a way that people in your target audience who are not aware of your product, you make them aware of your product through your content on various social media channels. So once they know you exist, your product exists, you start giving the benefits, address their problems, address how your product is going to solve, and they come closer to buying stage. They become interested in your product, and they also look at the other competitive products. And if you have done your marketing well, if your messaging is good, then they reach the desire stage, which is the consideration part, where eventually they will go and they want to buy your product. So this is a marketing funnel that is engineered, and this is an ongoing thing. Even after launch, you will keep working on the marketing part as well. And you will also look at the scalability part. Thankfully, if the launch has gone well and you have overwhelming demand, how do you meet that demand? And again, like I said, we took the example of Kodak and BlackBerry. So you keep looking at the competitors, the trends in the market, any potential for change, and how that can influence your product. And not all launches go well. Many launches may not meet the expectations of the founders. So be open for any pivoting. Now, pivoting is basically nothing but based on the market information that you have. You see if you can meet slightly, different demand or need that the market wants now. So a great example is Apple. When they came out with iPod, it was one of a kind of a product, and you could store and listen to music. But then they realized that by taking this to the next step, they can include the ability to make calls and a lot of other features. So that pivoted into iPhone. And in the earlier slides, we also saw how audio, which was supposed to be a podcast platform, even before the launch, during market research itself, they found that there was no need for that, and they pivoted into a short messaging platform, which became Twitter. So TuneIn Hookup basically became YouTube. So pivoting is possible throughout the startup journey. Whenever market tells you what it needs and what it doesn't need, and you see that there is no match between market and your product idea, it could also happen at the point of or after launch as well. So that's basically the story, or the journey from idea to launch. So if you have any questions, we are open for this.
So thank you, ma'am and sir, for such an informative talk and covering the topic broadly, from starting from ideation to market launch. So I think we can take questions. So I would like to read the questions in the chat box. So we have a question, ma'am. So customer centric is a good for business, but what about the value for the service providers or the startup?
Hema, do you want to take, or I can take it?
Would you like to take that? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So it's a great question. Actually, the fundamental is whatever you are taking to the market, it has to be customer centric. Whether it's a product or a service, you are serving a set of people, right? As an ideal customer, you're looking at that one person who needs your product or service the most. So all your activities have to be customer centric. I hope that answers the question. Do we have more questions?
Yes, sir, we do have.
Okay.
So like, what is the most common go-to-market mistake like anyone do?
As we mentioned here, the common go-to-market mistake is that if you don't do a proper market research analysis, right, that would be the biggest mistake that anybody can land into. Because if you look at any of the products or the service-based companies, right, they look at what are the different competitors who are available in the market, and then they do the proper market research analysis. So the fundamental and the thumbs up rule here is that do the proper market research analysis. As we had mentioned in many of the slides, there are a number of tools which are available. Please use these tools. They would help you to fine tune your strategies around the product development or the product or the company vision that you have.
And we have a question follow-up for the last question, which sir answered. Like, but the value for the customer is there, but how does the startups get value?
Well, in short, the bigger problem you solve, the bigger value you can command in the market. The larger problem you solve and the larger number of people, that is the larger market that you solve it for, that gives you the value. I mean, there are various strategies and tools that they use to evaluate the value of a company, but eventually it boils down to this: the larger problem you solve, the bigger price you can demand and command, and more number of people you do this, your revenue will go up, and so is the value of your company or your startup.
And to add on to that, the value, like the unique proposition that you bring onto the table is where you bring onto the value, I should say. Your product or your vision should have some uniqueness, which should be the selling factor. That is where you generate a value.
Right. Thank you for the answer. I think the question has been answered properly, I think. So like, what are the different frameworks from Scrum, sir? Like, any different frameworks would you suggest apart from Scrum? You said that is the one Scrum they follow, but apart from any frameworks, do you like suggest like?
There are many, like AUP is there, Agile Unified Process, which is a take on RUP, Rational Unified Process. There are practices like XP, that is Extreme Programming, DSDM, Crystal. These are all different frameworks, but they all come from the same the mindset of lean thinking. How do we adapt to change? How do we create the product with a lot of transparency and ability to incorporate change and quickly, efficiently, without too much of waste? How do we create the product? They all address the same thing, but the flavors are different, and you choose them based on your needs. Like I said, a standard framework for most of the new software products being developed is Scrum. But if you are doing, let's say, let's say you have a legacy system and you are trying to go agile, then you can do in a hybrid way. The most brittle part of your software, probably you want to re-architect and develop and plug them in, and you use Scrum there. Whereas all the defects that are there and they have to be fixed quickly because the product is being used by the customer base, you will do a Kanban there, right? So you basically pick and choose any flavor based on your specific needs.
Thank you for the answer, sir. Like, so one more question we have. In a construction industry, for example, we have commercial real estate rental. Which model to follow? How to go for a launch?
Well, the basic approach remains the same, right? You bank your plan on the market research data, because market will basically tell you how you want to reach out to them. What are their needs? Where are they available? What are their spending habits? What kind of value system they have? The more we understand this, these are fundamentals, right? The better we can create those three things that we talked about: the customer profiling, the value proposition from their perspective, and the messaging. and you do the messaging and media match. So you reach them with the right way which is very receptive to them. So the fundamentals do remain the same. Only the tactics may change.
Okay. Thank you for the answer, sir. So, like, what are the key risk any startup would encounter when they are pivoting from one to another level? So, like, when they do pivoting of their product, what are the risks they come across? What are the consequences they may face as a startup?
Well, the biggest risk in my mind is not understanding the market properly, right? The quality of your data source can give you completely different perspective of the market. So we talked about the primary and the secondary research. In primary, you straight away go to the end users, talk to them and get their needs. Whereas in secondary, you go to existing data set and try to glean from there. I always bank on the primary. I think that is very efficient. But then again, you have, if you are trying to address a very huge market, then probably primary alone doesn't help you. You probably have to go for secondary as well. So in terms of risk, that's the biggest risk, not knowing the pulse of the market, because market needs also keep changing. Remember this, based on the trends, based on what's happening in the market or in the world, as we have seen in the pandemic, right? The market needs also change. So not knowing them as they are on the ground is the biggest risk in my perspective. And second one is, of course, the execution. No matter of planning is great or gives you success unless the execution is efficient and flawless. So these are two areas probably where the risks may emanate.
I would like to add on saying that for every risk, have a mitigation plan. The ability for you to foresee the risk and also mitigation plan is what the PMP also suggests. That would actually become a framework for you to ensure that you are successful. Risk and ability to foresee and also have the entire mitigation plan. That's very important.
Thank you for the answer, ma'am and sir. Like, while doing this pivoting, is there any kind of when they do the pivoting of the product according to the market, is there any of sort of percentage they lose the authenticity of the product, because we are tending to the change say product according to the market? So market changes on basis of every day, every month. So is there any chance of losing the authenticity of the product?
Well, if the needs of the customers are captured properly, then you will come across as authentic, right? Your messaging, if it comes from the perspective of the customer, if it directly touches the way they are perceiving the problems and the way they want to have the solution, if they feel that, yes, your product helps them either get rid of a pain or have some gain, like a promise, right? If they are convinced with that, then in their perspective, in their mind, your brand becomes, your product becomes authentic. So again, it comes back to understanding what they need and taking the shortest route to get them quickly so that they make the right perceptions and they provide you authenticity from that perspective.
Thank you, sir, for the answering the question. So we have you have answered all the questions which were on the chat box. So to this, we have come to the end of the session. So with this, we have come to the end of the workshop. Thank you, ma'am and sir, for your wonderful and insightful knowledge. I'm sure the audience finds the same. Thank you for joining the session. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining the session.
Yeah, thank you. And before I end, I would like to say that there are many incubation centers and also mentors who are available. Please make use of them. That's very important for ensuring that you take your dreams to the next level. Be it the NSR cell or many beautiful incubation centers are there. Please approach them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.